So that is carried. Thank you very much. Thank you, Angus. So that's
Sorry, if staff could just note, I stood back from that as well. Yeah, cool. Okay, good.
Could we do one of the reports, the water or the, we've got two of the quarterly activity reports. Do you want to do your activity report?
yeah. You can do that, Brett. Yeah, good, excellent. So we'll rip up to number 14, and we'll get that past us before lunch.
Don't we debate about whether we go out and consult?
Apologies, Mr Mayor, you've drawn the short straw. I'm the last one standing in Three Waters at the moment. There's a few away on leave and at sick, so and often discussions with Te Mara Arawai. So this is the following on from the transport report, the new format. We've taken a lot of the duplication out, the capital works, that sort of thing. And hopefully it's a bit more of an easy read and gives you an indication of a bit more of the things that Three Waters are doing and what's coming up in the near future. So happy to answer questions that I can. If I can't answer them, I'll take them back to the team.
Right, Councillor Johansson.
Oh, thanks. So we just heard from the community board about concern about the wastewater treatment plant future. Is there any update or time frame for an update on what's happening with the insurance?
That will be going back through the insurance subcommittee first, so I can't. There's nothing that I can contribute on that at the moment.
Right. Is there any way that we could get a time frame for once the insurance settlement is negotiated or the insurance is settled, what the next steps are, so we could at least communicate to the community what the process will be once that happens?
Once that happens and it goes through the insurance subcommittee, then that information will come to full council.
So there's nothing we can say today
Can't say
about
anything.
what's happening in the future?
Council, you're already aware that it's subject to insurance negotiations, so I can't.
Okay. And then the other question from me was just in regards to the new water stations that have been put in. I was just trying to understand what budget they came from and why any new ones would require annual plan consideration.
So these, remember, there were some chlorine-free, there were some taps there prior to us having to remove them to comply. We've used some reactive capital money to put them back in, so nothing else has been deferred as a result of it because it is reactive funding. The reason we said for the annual plan is that there's already an outstanding action first for the team to come back to council with a report on costs and an indication of some potential sites that we, council, could decide to expand it. But I think it's best to leave it until you get that report, and that'll be within the next 2 months.
Right. And do we know how much the two stations cost?
Offhand, I don't know.
Okay, thanks.
Okay, Councillor Harrison-Hunt, and then Councillor Barber.
Just an acknowledgement. The report looks great. Thanks so much for that. Visually appealing. The numbers look great. I just wanted to give you a shout out. Thanks.
Just an answer to that. There's some, you get some funny figures in there sometimes with compliance and the wastewater page especially, and what you get is some technical non-compliances there, but we're better to call them out and tell you exactly what they are. There's little things in there like a sampling point might be in the wrong place and we've had to shift it and things like that. So
Yeah. Actually, probably just one note too within that. On page 194, you see the supply details. It's got the number, the code, but for public knowledge, it might be cool to just have the actual location. There is location in there, but just having a code might be hard to understand.
Alrighty, thank you. Councillor Barber, please.
Yeah, sorry, just a quick question, Brett. Page 194, the third one down, CHR 009, water's non-compliant. Can you give us some context on how much water that is, that 2498 metres cubed? Is that like 10 minutes of unchlorinated water?
I
Any
wouldn't be
idea?
able to.
Sorry.
No.
I'm just curious,
Yeah.
as to how long it would have been unchlorinated for.
Yeah, no, I'd have to find out.
Yeah, it's all right. Just given the fantastic nature of our water anyway, I'm sure it wasn't a problem.
Sorry. Councillor Cotter. Councillor Cotter, you? Sorry. That'll be you.
That'd be me. Thank you. Page 5 of your report, or 192 of ours, you've got the volumetric use of our water in cubic metres. Is it possible in future reports to see a trend? Because that kind of doesn't really mean very much. So
Sure.
are we trending up or down?
Sure.
Maybe over perhaps since I'd really like to see it from the last annual plan, but from however far back you can go would be really great.
Yep, sure.
Also, how are we going with our water meter installation program?
We could add that in.
Yeah, and I'm just wondering, I'm just noting that our class 1 status, so that's about our source water, that work will be completed April 2025.
Yes, it's been going very well. They're quite a way through. There's a couple of stations where they had to go back and restart, but generally it's been testing very well. And on top of that, class 1 work, because that of course is the one that means we don't have to treat the source water.
Yeah.
On top of that, we're working with Te Mara ROI and ESR on that other research around the very deep bore water and viruses and things. So it's all starting to come together in a picture as to the
Right, so
quality
does
of
the
the
class 1, that reflects the ageing of the water, is it?
Now, the class 1, so class 1 means you don't have to treat the source, and it's not. There's a few things there. It's mainly around the protozoa. So there's a couple of stations where we're going to have to put UV in. That is Tanner Street and I think over at Wainui where we're doing things over there, where we can't get the class 1 classified. It's coming from the deepest bores and doesn't carry protozoa. So that's what that bit of work is about. Then we're doing other research which is around viruses.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
So where you need to put the UV is in the shallower ones, is it?
Yes, that's things like main pumps, for example, in Colombo Street has had UV for quite some time, and it's just where the underlying rock layers allow you to get into those
Right.
aquifer-bearing shingle layers.
Well, thank you.
Okay. Councillor Templeton, please.
Kia ora. Thanks for this. A few things. How are we going with the work on loss measurement? So I know that during the long-term plan process, we talked about the fact that there was disagreement about the usefulness of the measurement that we're using currently and that we're working on different ways of doing that.
Yep, I haven't got an update for you for this one, but we could perhaps do an update for the next quarter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that would be really useful. And how much... So for me, this is a good overview of the work at a really high level that we do.
Yes.
But I think what was clear during the long-term plan is that we don't have as much of an understanding over the detail of the work programs as we might otherwise, which is why there were so many bits and pieces and amendments and things went in. So what we used to get and what I'd be after is a bit more detail on these. So for example, in stormwater network, it says, the network includes open drains, pipes, pump stations, stop banks and basins, but there's no information about what we're doing with those, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And like in the forward work program, I don't know
It does make sense.
what we're planning on doing for water pipe renewals to fix our drinking water system, those kind of things from this report.
Okay, so taking out as part of the pre-annual plan information that will be coming to you, we're going to talk about programs, but that's the physical works, the capital works, but we can get some comment on the planning behind those programs. Is that what you're meaning?
Yeah, I guess.
As to what we're trying to achieve?
Yeah, I guess I just don't have a really good understanding from this report of the work that's happening and the scale of work that's happening in the city, how that compares with what we've been doing in the past, the trends that Pauline was talking about, and actually what's required to get us to where we want to be. And that's the kind of a reporting that I think at an oversight level is probably the most useful.
I'll note that.
If that makes sense, yeah. So, yeah, thanks.
Councillor Peters?
Thank you. Just, I guess, turning back the pages a wee bit here with the water taps that have gone in, Keys Road and Burnside, and the fact that staff are doing work on further options for having others potentially decided upon. Is there a plan to sort of look at an even spread around the city to give the wider population better access through that sort of work?
I think I'll leave that for when we come back, because part of what will come back in that report is we'll put flow meters on these taps as well, just to see even if they're going to be well used.
Yep.
Because then it'll be a decision for council as to whether you feel it's a good thing to do or not.
Yeah, fair enough. Councillor Hanson?
Just, have you had any negative feedback about Keys Road? We just got an email from a board member last night around the rate of flow and also nowhere for people to put containers. Is there a process to get feedback from people using them too?
There has been some feedback collected already, and I think initially there was an airlock on the system as well, which created problems. So we're collecting all that, and we'll make modifications as necessary.
Cool. And just on page 8 of the report, 195, it says a non-compliance to discharge water and contaminants to land and water from stormwater network. It says the submitted versions of our stormwater management plans do not meet the purpose of condition 6. Can you just help me understand a little bit more about why?
Sorry, I'm still finding it. Where was it? So page 8.
Yeah, page 8, just in the the bottom non-compliance. Because I thought we did our stormwater management plans to be compliant with ECAN's conditions, but I was surprised to see that as a non-compliance given how much work we've done on those.
I'll have to get some detail
Yeah,
for you.
would it be possible just to get a memo on that? Or,
Sure.
a
Or
note?
just a note out.
Yeah, that'd be great. Thank you.
Okay, right. We have a mover and seconder. I'll put that motion. All those in favour? Aye. Against? Thank you. That's carried. Good. So, right.